Shalom Yasharallah, this your brother Dawud Daw from GMS Tampa Bay #07, coming at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rachach Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught me this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you. I can pushing this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions. Alright, so still building on this here lesson. Basically is the unraveling of this false flag attack, which is going to further escalate tensions to World War III is approaching. Alright. Any day now. All right. Further going into that, we just covered a video of America created these terrorist groups, okay, for proxy militants or proxy mercenaries for an agenda. All right. And so now we're going to see basically like how they say when you take drugs, this is the drug. If you got, if you paranoid or some shit like that, take this here drug. But the side effects, all right, are so and so and so and so. So these are some of the side effects, that so-called America is doing, all in the name of the justification of so-called terrorists. All right. So like I was saying, they created this, but this is why it's important for them to have this so they can go ahead and do this, further exposing this damn devil. All right. And why the whole world is mad at him over this shit. Why it's like, you talk to these so-called simple Americans here and they feel a certain type of way about ISIS, instead of just being obvious, like, oh, well, what you think about ISIS? Oh, yeah, that's the American military or, CIA doing they fuck shit, But instead of like, oh, yeah, these are crazy, they call us ISIS all the fucking time on the block. Like, nah, nigga, like ISIS ain't even what you think it is. It's not no religious holy war, nigga. This is like justification for slaughter from the U.S. government. You know what I'm saying? And so, and not just so-called conspiracy theory talk. Or just me saying this out of my own thing. These are articles coming out of the so-called white man's mouth himself, exposing himself, all right? Like the book of Obadiah say, how are the things that Esau sought out, And also his tongue was going to fall upon it as a curse upon his own self, basically, roughly paraphrasing, So he's exposing his own self, all right? So this one here says the U.S.-led coalition, all right? Basically U.S. NATO, all right? The whore and the beast, all right? The U.S.-led coalition admits 1,061 civilians killed in the Iraq and Syria strikes in the latest death tolls. Now, you know how the Puerto Rico deal was. They talking about I believe it was like 64, 68 people they said died, when it was like way more than that, Esau just be covering up numbers because especially when he's basically could be held responsible for, he don't want people to sit there and look at him in a negative way, because he's supposed to be the world police, the world humanitarian, world philanthropist, the world's greatest of all of those things, But yeah, he really the damn devil, He don't give a damn about nobody. He lead them people out there to dry. All right. It says new figures released by the U.S.-led coalition bombing Islamic State or ISIS, or basically the beast bombing ISIS. You know what I'm saying? Which we know it's not them bombing ISIS, which this article is going to get into. Is really just them killing civilians. All right. You know what I'm saying? It's just them killing regular ass people. They using a proxy to go over there to justify them bombing. All right. Now I pulled out in another article how I believe they only really hitting 2% of their targets, which mean they fell in 98% of the time. And when they fail, it's civilians that's dying. All right. Regular men, women, and children ain't got shit to do with nothing. All right. But it says, new figures released by the U.S.-led coalition bombing Islamic State militants in Iraq and Syria say that at least 1,061 civilians have been killed. This is still several times lower than data collected by rights groups. Like I said, they be lying about their numbers. In its monthly casualty report published on Thursday, Combined Joint Task Force Operation Inherent Resolve assessed that at least 1,061 civilians have been unintentionally killed by coalition strikes since the start of Operation Inherent Resolve. All right. It says some 216 reports are still pending review of the last 18 reviews carried out. 15 death reports were deemed not credible, and only 3 were accepted. Because Esau don't want to, take responsibility. You know what I'm saying? Just like dealing with us. The scriptures say, how does the scripture say? It says, whose oppressor, roughly paraphrase, basically who's they don't take no account of their labor, but they take them captives and hold themselves not guilty, more or less to say, you know what I'm saying? They don't want to take responsibility for the oppression that they putting down upon on the people, So it says, meanwhile, several right groups are maintaining that the civilian casualties caused by the strikes are much higher. Like I said, these numbers are at an astounding rate, man. All right, really, what Esau's doing is enacting his damn plan to enforce what do you call that shit? The Georgia guideline, demand for population under 500 million. All right, so this is why this nigga is bombing every 12 minutes on the planet Earth, just death and destruction. All right, but also this nigga's the devil, and this, hey, the devil come down until you having great wrath, because you got it but a short time. So he just going all in, mask off. You know what I'm saying? It says, meanwhile, several right groups maintain that the civilian casualties caused by the strikes are much higher. Airwaves, a UK-based nonprofit which collaborates with regionally focused monitoring groups, attributes at least 6,575 civilian deaths in Iraq and Syria to the coalition. The group assessed that between 75 and 119 non-combatants likely died in coalition actions in July, as it targeted the last remaining pockets of ISIS fighters remaining in the east and eastern Syria. All right, and like I said, I did a different video going into, I believe it was like 2% of the targets that they set out to kill are actually the targets that they mean to hit. And then also in that same article I was going into, they was like, they're not even going back to really check to see if they actually hit the targets they was planning to hit and how many people actually died. All right, they just writing shit down like, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? They might go through a fucking city or apartments or a football game like how we have in America, those football stadiums. Not saying they shit like that, but that many people, and drop a bomb and just kill all them people and just keep it moving. Don't even check what the fuck the death toll was. Like, yeah, we killed 4 people. We don't know. We was trying to strike these people. We don't know if we got them. You know what I'm saying? They'll be like, oh, well, 4 people died today. But in reality, it was like, 60,000 people that didn't die, right? It says, in its own monthly assessment published on Wednesday, Airways researchers tracked more than 750 reported events that caused civilian casualties this year, in which up to 3,700 civilians are allegedly to have died. So again, like the article, like, you know what I'm saying? They just be deceitful about all the little shits. Like I said, look at Puerto Rico. 64 people died when it was thousands of people that died. All right. The death toll has also been challenged by Amnesty International, which said that the coalition was deeply in denial about the large number of civilians killed and injured by strikes. But again, at the same time, this is the justification. America don't care, but they're like, well, at least we getting a terrorist. But you're not really getting a terrorist. The real people that's actually killing large number of terrorists and small numbers of casualties is the Syrian side and the Syrian and the Russians. All right. It says its monthly report on civilian casualties across Iraq and Syria rely on vague descriptions and dismissed vast majority of allegations as non-credible. Amnesty added. Again, like I said, they'll be to drop the damn bomb on a crowd of people the size of a football stadium and just be like, oh, well, we think about 4 people died. You know what I'm saying? Not even, they'll fly the plane over, drop the bomb, and keep it moving, never look back, never see what really happened. All right. A report published by the group in June on the coalition campaign to liberate Raqqa from the Islamic State assessed that its precision air campaign allowed it to bomb ISIS out of Raqqa while causing very few civilian casualties do not stand up to scrutiny. All right, because again, they be lying about all this shit. So, you know what I mean? They're like, what's the justification, bro? You just bombing the fuck out of these people. You know what I'm saying? You're not really killing no terrorists, but you're killing the fuck out the people. Not only are you killing the people, you're making the people go on mass migrations and leaving. All right, so you just turning out these places. So what? So you just run through and take all their shit, all their resources. All right, set up in their little strongholds. All about what reasons? By what means? Oh, y'all had terrorists, so we had to go over there and liberate y'all people, give y'all people freedom. But really, you the one bringing the terrorism on them. All right. It says, commencing in August 2014, the coalition has conducted a total of 29,920 strikes against the ISIS Islamic State targets in part of Iraq and Syria up to the end of July this year. So, you know what I'm saying? These motherfuckers damn near on 30,000 strikes, just bombarding these people. You know what I'm saying? It's basically a war on these 2 countries and in other, smaller pockets. But basically, these just 2 countries, Iraq and Syria, they just going through, just bombing the shit out of the infrastructure, bombing the shit out of regular civilians, you know what I'm saying, and killing very little so-called terrorists. If it wasn't for Russia stepping into the game, I mean, Syria was holding it down a bit, but they was getting pushed back and forth. Really, they just kept getting pushed back because it was America, really. But, and then they had the no-fly zone. America had the no-fly zone over there, and Syria couldn't really get down like that, all right, because of the so-called barrel bombs. But nevertheless, once Russia stepped up, all right, Russia was actually taking the terrorists out. And you didn't see in a couple different skirmishes to where they was all the way back into a circle, and America needed a way out. So what they do? They staged a damn chemical attack or some shit like that, which will cause America to go in and bomb certain shit. And just so happens in the bombing of the shit that they popped off with, or in the false flag, so-called Russian military equipment get fucked up, or in a retaliation strike because they blame it on the government, America go through and bomb Syria's infrastructure, which that infrastructure, military infrastructure, is the shit that's fighting and waging a war against America via its proxy ISIS. Okay, so if America can take out Syria shit, what they ultimately doing is fucking up their land, displacing their people, weakening their people, fucking them up psychologically, wearing down their military, wearing down their resources, and then just destroying every damn thing. All right. Then when you come in, you got your proxies to come in and you further destroying their military, so these people can't openly come back at you like, this is America funding y'all. So since y'all done struck our military base, nigga, it's on. War's on. We gonna come over there. This justifies you committed an act of war. But since they're using their proxies, they can't declare it's an act of war on nobody. That's impossible. That's the bullshit that George Bush did. Like, we got a global war on terrorism. All right, but that was code word for, nigga, we are at war with the whole world. It's us against y'all. You know what I'm saying? And that's the reason that they do these things, just to justify them going in and invading and stealing these countries. All right. But in the same sense, these other countries already know the whole deal and are waking up. Vladimir Putin has been exposing this for the longest time. Oh, ask America who funded them. Ask them who did this, who did that, But these Americans don't realize. They still just, talk shit because they think that some Arabs that's religiously crazy because they follow Sharia law or whatever the fuck they think they follow. I don't know nothing about their shit, or not much about their shit, but you know what I mean? They believe whatever they want to believe, but they don't really have no real insight. The majority of these people are fucking Americans, all right? And they working under a contracted out by who? The CIA or the FBI, one way or another, for these types of things here. So they can come out with all these damn airstrikes on the civilians and blow up the infrastructure, okay? And then in turn lie about the numbers. But when you actually go over there on the grounds and you see those images of entire so-called populated city places, like where you see buildings look like apartments or downtown areas, they all obliterated. It look like a straight graveyard, When you look at things like that, that's the so-called justification for that. Oh, y'all had a couple terrorists running through the neighborhood, so we had to blow the whole city block up for 4 niggas, and we don't even know if we killed them or not. But in the process of blowing up the whole neighborhood, we had to kill 60,000 people in that process. But we don't even count them. We just, maybe say we killed 10 people today in a conflict, with the terrorists, But, these are the things that's in the news right now, exposing Esau and his way of getting down, All his tricks and all his little ways are coming to naught. People are seeing through all his bullshit right now. And these other countries are standing up to him and calling his ass out about this, all right? So as we progress in these couple little mini-series inside this, all right, dealing with ISIS and these terrorists, we're going to see what the outcome, or what the buildup is, because we right around the corner from a major false flag attack, all right, over there in the Middle East, in the Idlib province in Syria, all right? And then from there, what's going to pop off is you probably see some, we definitely going to see probably an air campaign against Syria, all right? Syrian military oppositions, or how do you call it? Iranian oppositions over there, because now there's another article that we'll get into touching on Israel, or how they just going through all this bombarding. But as you can see from their actions, these are the real terrorists. These are the type of people who got it in their character to be what you think of as when you think of ISIS, people just running around terrorizing people, killing people. These are the same people who arm those people who you see on TV acting out the role who you think they really are. These are the same people creating these damn airstrikes and killing all these people and lying about it. These are the same people who've been doing this to our people since we got over here and beforehand, and just doing it to all these other nations as well. All right, these are the same psychopathic people that we dealing with. So when you see these types of things, ISIS and so on and so forth, just know exactly who the hell it is. It's the damn devil, just got a different mask on. This ain't just no crazy shit popping off in the world with terrorists. You should be afraid of them. No, this is Esau coming in his agent like tactics, more or less to say. You know what I'm saying? This is just how he getting down to further his agenda. Like I said in this article, is showing that how many people they killed, but they're not really going into how much land they seize and how much resources they seize, and the contracts with KBR and Halliburton that they get to rebuild that, because that's another thing they go into. Oh man, Bashar al-Assad, we know we don't want you in power, but we're sorry for fucking up your country. Let us be nice and rebuild your country for you. Start with the infrastructure. We're gonna send in some companies, KBR and Halliburton. They're gonna fix up your shit. But really, in order to run the shit, you're gonna need us to do it. So now, basically, we don't own your shit. We get all the money off of your shit first. You own the shit, but you're gonna have to be responsible for the upkeep and all this and that. But we're gonna get the money first and break you off with it. All right, these are proxy nations for them. All right, and this is how they use these other countries. All right, so you got to understand the characteristics of Esau Edom, the goddamn American Babylonian, because he used these people as his arms for a certain agenda, his certain role, his certain thing. All right, and you would think it one way, but it's actually there for a different reason. All right, like I said, this is the build up to it. You know, you got Russia calling them out right now over this same ass bullshit. You know, heavily. All right, we're gonna go ahead and close out with that. Lord, when this here lesson was edifying into the elect, and with that, I'm gonna go ahead and say, call halal Yahweh. Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Racha, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that taught me this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you. I can push in this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. All right. Stay strong. Shalom.